All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with the panel. And let's introduce said panel. Kristin Tate, libertarian author and political columnist, founder of thelibertarianchick.com and author of Government Gone Wild. There it is. And she's checking in from Houston, Texas. I wonder if she's run into Archie Bell and the Drells. Now, there's probably going to be one person in the whole audience who gets it. And Kristin is not going to be one of them. And in the other location, other section is Margaret Howell, international reporter extraordinaire. I threw in extraordinaire, Margaret, just so you know. All right, ladies, I want you to hear what Mitt Romney had to say when he emerged from Jean-Georges without Donald Trump and without Reince Priebus. He didn't meet the press. He kind of made a statement, and here's some of what he said.
By the way, it's not easy winning. I know that myself. He did something I tried to do and was unsuccessful in accomplishing. He won the general election. And he continues with a message of inclusion and bringing people together. And his vision is something which obviously connected with the American people in a very powerful way.
Okay, Kristin, I'm in a quandary here, as I indicated at the top of the show. On one hand, why on earth would you bring Mitt Romney back for round two in a very public spectacle of, going into Jean-Georges, you let cameras in to take pictures at the table, the whole thing, and then he speaks to the media afterward if he's not going to be Secretary of State. On the other hand, why go through all this and then have him make that statement and not name him Secretary of State already? And he didn't apologize for what he said about Trump. He only spoke, as you just heard him, well, he did something I couldn't do. He's bringing people together. So what do you think is up with the Romney thing?
I mean, I think this could serve many purposes. What I think Trump is trying to do is he's trying to kind of extend an olive branch to the establishment wing of the GOP. For the last year, Steve, we've all been talking about how the GOP is in a civil war, how the party is going to die, all of this stuff. But actually, the party's really coming together. I really think he's trying to condense and bring together the Republicans, hold out his hand and just welcome these establishment folks, because he needs to work with all Republicans. So he's consolidating the party. And meanwhile, the Democrats, they're in huge trouble. They are the party who's having their own little civil war, and they are the party that's in trouble. So I don't think this is necessarily so much about Secretary of State as it is just about sending a message that Trump is going to work with all Republicans and he's going to leave the past in the past.
What about it, Margaret?
Look, she's right. There was a coup that was staged 6 weeks before Trump actually won the election, and the word on the street was that it was inside the GOP party. We know this from Reverend Jerry Falwell Jr., who said that he got wind of it and actually contacted Trump's attorney, that they were trying to take him down. There was an unmistakable vitriol for Trump, and now he has to make nice with people who said some really awful things about him, including Mitt Romney. I don't know what the heck he's doing having dinner with him. I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. You can't take the things back that Mitt Romney had said, and they were deeply personal and frankly really mean. He doesn't need to be Secretary of State. They're much better. I think that Trump is doing this because he has to, as your other panelists said, extend the olive branch, but enough already.
Yeah, and we're hearing still, Vice President-elect Pence said last night, as this dinner was going on, that there are other candidates. He named Rudy Giuliani, he named John Bolton, and he named maybe one other person. So I think there are 4 candidates. So if it was, if you're having dinner with Romney to be Secretary of State, why do you have your Vice President-elect mention other names? None of it makes sense. And there are no more picks reportedly coming out today. Or this week, as a matter of fact. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Let me move on to a victory that Donald Trump has already gained. He made it kind of a centerpiece of his campaign, Kristin, and that was, talking about Carrier air conditioners, wanting to close up shop, fire employees, move to Mexico, and if he's president, that stuff isn't going to happen. Well, guess what? He's not even president yet, and reportedly, he's going to Indiana tomorrow, I think, and there's going to be this big press spectacle, and they're staying. They're apparently not moving to Mexico because Trump cut a deal with them.
That's right. Trump is going to be a very action-oriented president. And that's why I think it's such nonsense when the media and those on the left are sitting there all snide, being like, oh, Trump is not sticking by his promises. Guess what? He's not in office yet, and he already is sticking to his cornerstone promises here. So this makes me very, very excited. And it does make me hopeful that Trump will stick to his promises, do what he says he was going to do. This man is a deal maker. Getting back to Romney, I mean, do you think Trump became such a successful businessman by holding grudges? Absolutely not. He knows how to work with everyone. He knows how to create jobs. This is a doer and a results and action-oriented man.
I agree. And of course, I don't want to get back to Romney, but the flip side of that is loyalty, such as Gingrich, and in the case of a possible candidate for Secretary of State, Giuliani, it appears that he's shunning loyalty, and even Kellyanne Conway, if you read some reports. So I don't know. But let's, Margaret, what about, I mean, to me, this speaks volumes, this Carrier deal.
Oh, it absolutely does. And he is making good on promises. He is a job creator, and we're going to see that as a continuation. All 8 years that he's president, you know, I think our economy is never going to be better. We see states fighting him, though. States like Illinois, for example, I was looking at a bill they're trying to pass. Any contractor caught helping Trump build the wall, they're going to try to censor and fine. He has states working against him and you know, fringe left. But for the most part, I think that the business community especially, they're going to be jumping at the chance to get on board here and stimulate the economy. This company is a classic example of Trump being able to reach across the aisle. And I know there was a lot of controversy about businesses and specifically about issues with Mexico, but as we've seen it, the mainstream media has blown that up much more than it actually is.
Yeah,
I guess that
and as I mentioned to Larry Kudlow earlier, I do believe that Carrier, the parent company of Carrier, has a contract with the U.S. government, not that Trump made, but that was in existence already a few months ago, to build $2 billion worth of improvement parts for some fighter jets. So maybe Trump said, oh, what is this? Whoa, look at this. You got $2 billion coming. You better play ball. And that's deal making, too. I want you to hear, you know, yesterday we had this blow up in the media. Donald Trump is Hitler. Donald Trump, again, is a tyrant. He's a dictator. He's this and that because he said that if you burn the flag, he believes you should be punished. And 123 here, I want you to go back to 2005 when Senator Hillary Clinton proposed basically the same.
Burning a flag, to me, is also despicable. And I believe that there is no denying. When we talk about our flag, Americans' emotions run deep. And we know that when we look at the flag and it's deliberately, maliciously destroyed, that is an intimidating experience in many instances.
Okay, sorry, I gave these guys the wrong cut, but they played the right one. Anyway, and the penalty under this this new law that she was proposing in the Senate at that time would have, if the circumstances were met for burning the flag, you would have been fined not more than $100,000 and put in jail for not more than a year, Kristin. So it's funny how the media just couldn't seem to remember that yesterday.
Yeah, they're such hypocrites. I mean, everything about liberals, I mean, liberals have just been so hypocritical during this entire election and afterwards. I mean, how about Hillary saying that Trump not accepting the results is horrifying, but now she doesn't want to accept the results of the election? These people are hypocrites. But about flag burning, I personally am a little disturbed by that because I think the First Amendment protects flag burning, but people like me who are practical also understand that Trump is kind of trying to send a message here. He's taking a stand for the flag and for patriotism, and after 8 years of Obama, who's gone on apology tours, who clearly has no deep love for this country and our culture, that's refreshing.
Yeah, no, we're breaking up a little bit there, but Margaret, you know, Tom DeLay told me yesterday that just because the Supreme Court decides it doesn't mean it's settled law forever. And as Hillary was trying to do there, you could pass a bill now in the Congress saying it's against the law. And then if it gets back to the Supreme Court, the new court will have to rule on it again, either going by precedent or changing their view.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that Tom DeLay is right, but I'm a liberty lover myself, and I do believe in the value and protection of free speech. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court has decided that flag burning, you know, that is a form of free speech currently. Look, Trump ran on Americanism, not globalism. That will be our credo. So, of course, he has to stand up for the American flag. That's pretty basic. You know, we're seeing cases, one in particular that came out of Florida, a former U.S. Navy veteran. He was flying a U.S. flag in his front yard along with a POW flag and a U.S. Navy flag. flag. His home was vandalized and set on fire because of those flags. So we are seeing an all-out war in this country, and it's largely against Americanism and American values. And I think that he's right in taking a stand and trying to protect what the flag symbolizes now, while we're in such a divisive state.
I agree, and I would like to see that decision overturned, but I'd like to see other decisions overturned that are more important. Kristin Tate and Margaret Howell, good to talk to both of you. And Kristin, if you see Archie Bell and the Drills in Houston, Texas, and if they're doing a dance called the Tighten Up, you let me know. All right, folks,
I
up
still
next.
don't know what that means.
I know. Well, look up Archie Bell and the Drills. Anyway, Give Me Five is next, folks, and it's very comprehensive. You're not going to want to miss it, I promise.